Okay, we're going to find perimeter, circumference, and area. You can use the distance formula to find the perimeter and area of a polygon graphed on a coordinate plane. You can also use the distance formula to calculate the radius of a circle, and then use the appropriate equations for circumference and area. Move through the slides to find the perimeter or circumference of the area of each figure. We're working with a rectangle here, and I need to move my face because it's in the way. There we go. And so we've got points at 1, 7, 5, 3, 0, -2, and -4, 2. So we know that we've got a length going along this way and a width going along this way. So we're going to use the distance formula to find out what those distances, those lengths, those widths are. How far apart they are. There we go. That's a good way of saying it. Okay, so we take our x1, y1, and our x2, y2. We're using points D and A for our first one here. So we've got 1 and -4, that's D to A, 7 and 2, D to A again. We substitute those in using the order of operations. We simplify some more. I'm sorry, I should have said we subtract, then we simplify. And so we know, whoops, I went too far. So we know that the distance is the square root of 50. Square root of 50 is not a whole number, it's a decimal. So we're going to leave it as square root of 50 for now because it makes it easier to work with. Okay, then we're going to find the width. If you need to pause so you can copy that stuff down, do that now. Okay, so we're going to look at the width now. We're going to go from A to B. So we substitute in 0, -4, B to A, -2 to 2, B to A. We do our subtraction, and we simplify, and we get the square root of 32. Now again, square root of 32 is not going to be a whole number. It's going to be a decimal. So we're going to leave it as square root of 32 for now to make it easier to work with. And if you need to pause to copy that down, do it really quick. Okay, then to find the perimeter, we've got 2 square roots of 50 here and here. And we've got 2 square roots of 32 here and here. So we plug those in for 2L plus 2W. Here and here, the square root of 50, the square root of 32. This is where we go ahead and put them into decimal form and simplify down as far as we can. Okay. The perimeter is about 25.5 units. If we don't know what units it's in, if we don't know if it's feet, miles, or inches, we just put the word units. And unless it says otherwise, always go to the tenths place, right? That first decimal. Sometimes it'll ask you to go further. It'll say go to the hundredths or to the 3 significant figures. But for the most part, if it doesn't say that, go ahead and keep it at the tenths place. That's usually the best place to go, the stop. All right, and then for the area, we want to go length times width, L times W, so the square root of 50 times the square root of 32. And again, this is when we will simplify, and we get that it is 40 square units. Always put square units when you're talking about area, right? So is it, if it's in inches, you can say squared inches or inches squared. If it's feet, square feet, or feet squared. But area is always squared. It's always got that squared on there. Working with a circle is a teeny bit different because we call it circumference instead of perimeter. And so the formulas are different for perimeter and area. But it's the same idea. We're going to use that distance formula to figure out the length of the radius, figure out how far it is from the center to the side of our circle. So we're going to use the center for 8, and any point on the side works. So for this example, we're going to use 6,3 because the distance from the circle to the center is the same all the way around. So we plug in what we know. So 6 minus 4, 3 minus 8. That's our x1, y1, x2, y2. Do our subtraction and simplify. And again, we're going to leave this as square root for right now because it's easier to work with. And then we plug it into the formulas for circumference and area. So we're going to plug it into circumference 2 pi r and into area to pi, and plug it into area pi r squared. I can talk probably. Okay. The way to remember the formulas for circumference and area is, like I said, area is always something squared, right? Your units are always squared. So the area formula has the square in it, right? It's got radius squared, okay? And then the circumference, which is just regular units, doesn't have any exponents. It's just the regular 2 pi r, okay? 2 times pi times radius. So we plug in our square root of 29 for r into the circumference formula, and you can either leave it as 2 pi square root 29, or if it asks you to round it, you can round it to whatever it asks you to. In this case, they round to the tenths place, so 33.8 units, right? And that's that distance along this darker circle all the way around here. And then area, pi r squared, pi times radius squared, pi times the square root of 29 squared. You can call that 29 pi, because the square root of 29 squared is 29. Or you can round that to 91.9 square units. And that's all this blue stuff in here, green. I'm not sure, can't completely tell on my computer if it's supposed to be blue or green. If you have any questions on that, let us know.